You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. It's Straight Outta Conte. It's time once again to analyze the one and only Mr. Antonio Conte's words in a press conference. I'm here with Mr. Brian Daigle. He's going to be a little confused right now, so I'm going to switch us around.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't mess things up a little bit. Just wanted to get this out to you quick. So, presser just came out. Lots to dig into here. I haven't actually read the thing yet, Brian. Have you gotten into it fully, or have you?
No, I mean,
just skimmed it a little bit.
First of all, I just want to apologise for yesterday. I had a bit of an allergic reaction to some kind of medicine that I was taking, so I was not a pretty sight. So I apologise to everyone for that. But yeah, obviously, we heard that the Great One had spoken, and we quickly had to get in and do this. So I've watched about 2 minutes of the press conference. I thought, do you know what? This has come so quick. It may be better doing this blind.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. We both get to experience it with you guys at the same time as we experience it, which I think is nice. And hopefully we get it out before anybody else has watched the press conference themselves, so that we get an opportunity to share it with you guys the way we were experiencing it. Yeah, so fantastic stuff. I'm going to let you lead off on the first one, if you don't mind. Off you go.
I'm enjoying going first for once. There we go. Let's do it. So the first one, which is what is the latest team news? The Great One spoke and said, in this moment, we have only one player that I'm sure will miss out against Southampton, which is Ollie Skipp. Basuma, we have another day to check very well his physical condition. Nothing serious, but I don't want to take any risks for the next games. But tomorrow we have another training session to make an evaluation about the team. The other players are all available. So what do you make of that, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, it's a standard question, a standard answer. I like the fact that he's obviously going to be careful about Basuma's injury. I think it was just something slight that happened in training or at the Roma game. It wasn't too serious, but I would rather have us fit and firing and have everybody ready to go, for Chelsea the following week, which I think Basuma is going to play a big part in. The Skipp situation, it's just unlucky for Skipp. Unfortunately, he's been just kind of bad scenario for him. Hoping he was going to be ready to go at the start of the season, looking like it's potentially 5 to 6 weeks is what I saw the boys that we were Tottenham TV talking about yesterday on their channel. So yeah, from a Conte perspective, standard sort of answer seems like he's ready to roll.
Yeah, so to just let you know, Brian, what basically happened with Skipp was in training, a player's football stud literally went through Skipp's boot and into his foot.
Yeah, bad into his heel, his metatarsal is what I'm understanding.
So the thing that concerns me with that is always when we hear from the club with Ollie Skipp, it's not bad as first feared. It always turns out to be worse than first feared.
This seems a habit, doesn't it? It's an odd one.
Only with Skipp for some reason.
Yeah,
but you know what? The thing I take out of this response and love it is hearing those words, I'm not risking for future games. That's the big exactly. where he's saying this, like when we've rushed players back because the squad has been so depleted. You run that risk of bringing that player back quickly, and you'll do a bigger injury because he's not fully recovered. So as much as we really wanted to see him, and what with Skipp's injury as well, we would have really wanted to see him. But it's a standard response. But I love what he says about I'm not risking players, which is a huge indication of the way forward with him.
Yeah, and there's a lot of football to be played. He recognizes that. And he wants his midfield that he's strong midfield that's has the depth and quality that we need. So, next question is happy with the transfer window. I'm looking forward to the answer to this one. Now, for sure, we're trying to do things with common sense. I think I know only this way to try to improve the club and try to give us the right direction. It's not simple because I have to try to make mistakes. No, especially in the transfer window with the club. But I think we're doing good things with common sense to improve the quality, to try to improve the squad, because this season we're going to face 4 competitions, especially with the Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, and Carabao Cup. Yeah, I think we're going in the right direction, but you know very well but you need to have a bit of patience, time, because if you want to build something important and fight for important achievements, you have to work, and to improve in every moment, in every situation at the club. Yeah, juicy. Your initial thoughts on that?
Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this is I made a promise to myself that when we do Straight Out of Conte, I'm going to talk about Conte. I'm not going to talk about my thoughts on anything else. This is me reading into what Conte says. I'm not getting my thoughts into this. So what I read from this is obviously he knows that we're improving. He knows we are improving, and he knows we are going on the right track, which you can see. Whether you agree with the players we brought in or the players we haven't, these players are what Conte wanted. Spence obviously is the one that was up for debate. But he's right. We're going for 4 competitions. This squad needs to be bulked up. It needs to be bulked up. And I think what he's saying in this as well, when he says you need to have a bit of patience, who knows if that means the window isn't over yet? Does it mean wait till January? Does it mean wait till next summer? We went into this window and we all didn't think that everything was going to be fixed straight away. We didn't think it was going to be fixed straight away. But the way we have gone, we started making improvements. He seems happy with it. The words from him are coming from a guy that's committed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
This isn't I'm pissed off and I'm going to let you know about it. He has fired off a couple of little warnings, I believe, as we get further into this, but we'll discuss that part there. But like he's saying, we have to fight for these achievements, and it looks like he is saying he is fit for the fight. So that's the most thing I get from this. What about you?
Yes, kind of the same. I mean, I see a committed manager who looks like he's building something for over and above just this window to try and see what happens this season, recognizing that there's potential in the squad. I think he's said in other comments over the last week or so that he's looking forward to the future. And it sounds like a committed manager, somebody who's going to be with us for a while, and that the choices that they make are going to be for long term as well as the short term. So I think it's a bit more of that for me from this. In regards to whether we've got enough this window or not, I think he's smart enough. Obviously he's smarter than the rest of us. He's in the job to recognize that there are some key positions they're still working on that they haven't been able to find the right players for what it is that they're looking for. That's the impression I get from this. I think he understands as well as we do that there's key positions that he's hoping to find the right player. Now, whether those players are available, we get those players or not in this window, is he's saying have some patience. It might not happen this window, but we will get them eventually, and we will get the players that we need to be successful at the club. And I'm going to do that over a period of time. That's what I get from it, and I love the answer. I think it just shows his newfound kind of commitment to the club that we hadn't seen sort of when he first came in last season and in some of last season as well.
Yep, I completely agree with you. So let's go to the next one, which was, can Ndombele, Lo Celso, Reguilon and Winks get back into the squad? Okay, I'm going to love the answer to this one, I think. As you said in your question, there's a World Cup. What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I didn't. maybe there's not. We might not have gotten the whole question there. Maybe there's something that started off that question.
Exactly, because Antonio's comment first comes, and big up Ali Gold for writing this down, which enables us to be able to do this. As you said in your question, there's a World Cup, and for this reason, many players want to play regularly.
Yeah.
And then for this reason, I think sometimes it's better for the players player and club to find the right solution for both. Because to keep players unhappy is not good, and I cannot assure they'll play regularly for Tottenham Hotspur or for Tottenham. We are talking about a good player, but maybe they deserve to play regularly. So we want to find a solution for the club and the player to keep both sides happy.
Yeah, this for me is sort of like he's been asked this question already, and he kind of answered it the same way, and you'd expect it. You're going to repeat the question, you're going to get the same answer. If he really feels that way, this says to me that he doesn't think those players are going to get into the squad that he has, and that they need to be moved on. And whether I don't think it's even necessary to say that it's a message to the club. I think the club know it. I think he knows it. I think they've decided together these players aren't going to be with the team anymore, and we need to move them on. Now there's the challenge of getting rid of them, and I think that is a different question. But in this case, whether they're going to make the squad or not, I think it's a clear no in his eyes, and that he's hoping, he's not being a dick about it. He's just saying, hey guys, they're not in my plans. They need to be moved on. Let's figure out a way to get them moved on so that they're happy in their own lives as well as their own careers as footballers. So I love the answer. It's sort of a canned answer. You can tell because he said it before, but it's the right one in when the question is about those players.
So for me, this is the nicest way of saying not this bloody question again. They're done
Yeah,
for.
exactly.
They've got no chance of getting into my squad. They're not even training. Sorry, we don't even know if they're training with the first team. For instance, they could be training with the others. They have no future presence, and we just have to try and find a club for them. I think it's very clear that he wants these players out, and I think what Conte's doing with this answer, keeping it short and sweet, is like we've said in previous ones. He's focusing solely on the players that are in the future and in his plans. These ones that aren't, it's just like, right, I'll answer this question because you've answered it. I don't want them. They're not in my plans. They're good players, but they don't fit my style of play or my formation. So off you pop. And it was the nicest way of doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's again, like I said, he had said it before and he's saying it again. And like you said, we haven't seen them in training. You know, there's no images of them. There's no reason to think he's going to try to implement them. I don't even know why, honestly, the journalist who asked this question, I'm not sure who it was, even bothered to ask. Maybe it's a scenario of we need a creative midfielder and we've got two in the squad. Why not try to reincorporate them? But I just think from his perspective, he doesn't think that they fit from an attitude perspective, from a position of these players have the right mentality that play in a Conte squad. So it makes sense what he said here.
The actual reason I think they're asking that question is because they're probably hoping they'll get a little development. Oh, we're talking with this for this one.
Yeah, maybe that's
it might be the way just to get a loaded question and try and get an answer that's not that. But obviously, I think this says there's no movement with them.
All right, Brian, next question's on me. Have you seen the tactical progression in your squad within the past 7 months? Surely to have 7 months to work on your back was really important. It means I can work also to improve our tactical aspect, to improve also our physical condition, to improve all of the team, because the team has 7 months to work on its back. We're trying to develop much more situations with the ball, without the ball, high pressure, medium pressure, and low pressure. Under this aspect, I'm satisfied. We had more time to work together and try to develop our football knowledge. What do you think?
It's a great answer. I love that. I love the bit where he says, you can see clearly what he's getting at when he said the players have had 7 months to work on it, or 7 months worth 7 months of work on its back. So for that, obviously, he's talking about everyone that he's had from the very, very beginning. So they're already going into this knowing everything. And what he's mentioned here, obviously, is the fitness. And with the fitness, obviously, we've seen what they look like. They are shredded. They are ready. They are looking in the best condition we've ever seen them, and I'm including Poch in that. So it's good. But the thing they have had to develop, obviously, with the new players, and I think, like I said, I think they might be a more attacking Spurs this season, like he did with Chelsea, is obviously how to deal with on the ball, off the ball, styles of play, patterns of play, and you can see these things emerging last season. I think we could say the real telltale part from me was when we beat Aston Villa 4-0. And Son got that hat trick. You can see that was like the eureka moment where everyone got it. Yeah, there was a couple of bad results after that, but that was the start of something. And I think what they've got to work on, and you can see it very, very clearly, was the closing down, like we used to do under Poch. In the last few games, it's so important when you do the press that if Harry Kane or Son goes, it's vital that the midfield goes. If the midfield goes, it's vital, and it's knowing when to do it and when to follow the previous player. So Conte demands a lot, and I think he's enjoying the time he's had with them, and hopefully the new players will catch up pretty quickly with the styles of play and that part of the game. But it's a great answer. What do you think?
Yeah, similarly, I think he had the 7 months with the squad that he had last season, and they clearly get it. He's got the new players that have come in, so he's trying to get them up to sort of the level or the understanding of the systems. I love the concept of the where to press or where to deal with pressure. The pressure part is a big part of how Conte responds and how we play going forward, in our own end, in the middle of the park, in the other team's end as well, winning the ball high up the pitch. That is, defines our offense as well. So I think the players that we've had for the 7 months he's been here already, the 11 or 12 that are there, the 13 or so that are there, really get it, and then the new players are sort of figuring out their way through it, and of course it sounds like they're starting to get it as well. So I think it bodes well going into the season with the understanding. I think that the players will have a good understanding of what Conte wants of them, and how to do all these different aspects that he's bringing to it. I think he's really smart about it. He's doing it slowly. He's giving them a chance to sort of get up to the level that the other players are. I think we saw that sort of in the preseason, some of the decisions he made with the players that come on and when they came on, and how they managed the game. So yeah, great answer, and looking forward to seeing the fruits of his labor and the players' labor as well.
Very, very good answer. So here we go. Next one was, what are you expecting against Southampton? And he said, my expectation is to have a different result to last season.
Let's hope so.
This is my first expectation. I hope so, because last season we drew away and lost at home to Southampton. We're talking about a really good team and a really good manager. We have to pay great attention, but we have to start in the best way. Get these 3 points. We're going to play in our stadium. This is the first game. We'll see again our fans. It will be exciting for the players, for me to play again, and all go into the new season.
Yeah, it's what you'd expect. Of course, we did have two poor results against Southampton last season, and a draw and a win, a draw and a loss. And we need to start the season on the right foot. And I think at home with with a difficult, so like you said, Southampton are a good side, especially tactically speaking. I think we were pretty obvious what we did last season, and any manager worth their salt could figure out, tactically speaking, what we could do and what we were incapable of doing because of the numbers we had and the lack of depth we had. So there was sort of a one way that we worked, and if you could deal with that, like Southampton did and Brighton did as well, two teams that don't sit deep but understood what we did to try to play out from the back, getting the ball to Harry Kane. So I think there's an understanding here and a recognition that that something's going to be different this season, and that we have to tactically be astute and different in how we approach this game and be ready for the beginning of the season. And he's going to be riling up the crowd on the sidelines, getting everybody into it, getting the fans into it. So hopefully the fans will respond. There'll be tons of singing, and Conte will get them rolling. But yeah, good answer from him for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what I have to say about this, I love it where he said it to us in that. First of all, I want to avenge basically last season's performances. I think he'll be telling them that in a bit more of a forthright way in the changing room and everything when it comes to the pre-match talk, and obviously his little motivational speech before the lads go out. Yep. It's huge. And I remember watching that Southampton game at home. It was awful, an awful performance. It wasn't even that awful. We just let their main danger man that everyone knew don't give space to, and we gave him so much space twice in 3 minutes, and we paid for it.
Yeah,
I don't think this will be happening again. I don't think Conte will allow it again, and I think the players know not to accept this again. And I think what we saw from the tail end of last season, that kind of performance won't happen again. Especially, there's going to be such a buzz around the ground. We're back in. It's the first game of the season. So yeah, it's right. Every manager says it's a great club and it's a great manager, so he's paying respect to that. But I think that is a very toned down message of what he's telling the players.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's fantastic. They're not going to, like you said, they're not going to be going in and leaving space for James Ward-Prowse to have a pip wherever he wants. It's going to be it's going to be a lot less space than what they had the last time. So I look forward to that. Next question is, what does success look like this season for you? Win a domestic cup? With a question mark. Why not win the Champions League and the Premier League? I think my target and the club's target is to try to continue to improve, to develop the process that we started 7 months ago. I love the first paragraph. Thank you for that, Conte. It doesn't mean that if you lift a trophy or win the Premier League or the Champions League, or you get a place in the Champions League, you achieved your target. It means we have to try to develop in every aspect, because my experience tells me we're going in the right direction, but at the same time, I know the club needed another step before being competitive to the top team in the league and in Europe. We have to not be presumptuous or arrogant and know only one word: work, 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 to try to improve on the pitch and outside the pitch to become a top club. We're on the right direction. We're improving and our target has to be to develop the situation and to increase our value on and off the pitch. Thoughts?
That is, you know what? That's like a world famous poet getting a pen and paper and just wrapping off a beautiful work of art, because this is an incredible answer.
Yeah.
When he says why not win the league, I love that he says we can't be presumptuous, but why not win the league and the Champions League? That's fantastic. For him
That's
to
my
say
favorite
that in
answer.
one paragraph and then say we can't be presumptuous. Listen, he's going on and he's saying he's setting the target. We all know Antonio Conte's target isn't to finish in the top four.
It's win, win, win. Yeah.
It's win, 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 or as he's saying at the moment, work, work, work.
Right.
His objective isn't to get top four. His objective is to win the league, or at least challenge for it, not to just sit in third or fourth and be happy with that. I love what he's saying, that we are on the right direction, and the most important thing is on and off the pitch. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go on off the pitch as well. We need,
Yeah.
the one thing I will say under Poch is, under the Poch time, one thing I will say, during my whole time supporting Spurs, I've never seen the club so together. Like the manager linked with the players linked with the fans linked with the manager. Everyone was in the right direction. Whether you wherever you felt on the ownership, the team and the manager, everyone was like, right, we're going into games, we're winning. And
Yeah.
this is what he's doing. And I love this answer. We're improving on the target, which is what we are doing, and we are going to develop this situation. And this is the thing. You don't just go from being where we were to league titles like that unless you got Man City or Chelsea or the ex-Chelsea owner as your owner. This needs to be done in stages, and we see where we go from there. But like you said, from my experience, tells me we're going in the right direction. Well, his experience is something I believe and back to the hilt. So so that's what I've got to say about that. What about yourself, Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything there. I think the lifting of the trophy or win the Premier League or Champions League part is great to hear. It does give you the sense that the goal is to get to that position, and there's nothing else that's acceptable, and that's what he must have in order to feel good that feel good that they're going in the right direction, as he says. So we're seeing that. We're seeing a happy manager, a good squad, a group of players who believe in what they're doing, who are being responding to what his ideas are, and I think it's going to translate on the pitch. And I think whether we win the Champions League or the league this season, which I think realistically speaking, there's a bit of lost in translation here. I don't think he's saying we're going to do that, but I think what he's saying is we're trying to do that all the time. We're building to that, whether we do it this season or the next. That the goal is to get to that point. And I think I love hearing that, because that's the ambition that we've been asking for so long with this club. We wanted it under Poch. We got very close, but with ambition from the whole club, we have a possibility to get there. And I think he is ingrained that all the way to the top. Even if you don't like the top, what's there, I do think they have given the reins to the man, and the man has taken them. And I think we will get there. Maybe not this season. I think this season there's a trophy in the cards, but probably not the league or the Champions League. But I think after that, I think the following season we're going to see an even better squad and an even happier Conte.
Yep, I think you're right. Now the next question, which is yours, is quite a meaty one.
Did I not just read that one?
No, you seem happier.
I think you're up.
Is it me? Is it me to read it? Oh,
yeah,
my bad. My bad. Jesus Christ.
All good, mate. All good.
I got so eager. Yeah, Brian's getting added onto the blooper reel, and that's why I'm B2, isn't it, Brian? So let's have a look. So you seem happier. You seem a happier man than 6 months ago. I have to be honest. From the first when I arrived at Tottenham, I was really happy, because I always said I found a model club with a great stadium, a fantastic training ground, everything a coach aspired to find when I signed the contract. At the same time, I say I want to try and build something important with the club, because I like to win. And I say it would be very important to match these two situations and to develop the club, to bring the club to become a club that wants to fight for something important every season. Then very well, every season there's one who wins the Premier League, one who wins the Champions League, one who wins the FA Cup, one who wins the Carabao Cup. And in England, it's very difficult to win, because there are monsters But at the same time, our target is to give Tottenham the stability to stay there and then to fight. To fight to be competitive and fight to lift the trophy, to become a stable club in a good position. But I also know other clubs want to do the same. And for this reason, it will be very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I think he says for this season it will be very difficult, and it is going to be a difficult season to do these things. But again, this goes to what I was just saying. I think he has the targets. He knows what he wants to do to get into the position to beat the best and to compete against the best and to be in that conversation in every competition. That's his goal. That's the goal. Should be the goal of every club that has ambition, and he's showing that for the club. And I think we will see the fruits of that labor this season with at least one trophy, and to be in the conversation of that top three. I think everything I've seen so far on every single YouTube channel or every other pundit has said that Spurs are in the top three, and likely to have a potential to make it uncomfortable for those top two. Not necessarily to get there, but when you have Conte in your team as your manager, you have that a much bigger opportunity than almost anybody else does because of what he's done with previous clubs in the Premier League as well. He recognizes the level that the Premier League is at and how much harder it is in this league to get to that level and to win something. And he's expressing that, but I still think he thinks he can do it because I'm not even thinking he knows he can do it because he's done it before, and he's done it at the highest level. So love the answer, and I think we will see him lifting that trophy with that giant grin on his face. Looking forward to that.
So my response to that, and you're lagging, Brian, by the way.
Okay.
So my answer to this is it's kind of different actually, because the one thing he doesn't do is answer the question, because he's asked if he's happier.
Yeah.
Than when he's been very clever with this answer, because obviously we know what happened after Burnley. After Burnley, he completely lost the plot and said what he said, and rightly so. I really appreciate him coming and doing that. A lot of people didn't, but I did, because it was finally right. Someone of stature is calling out what it is. But what he does go and say, listen, when he first came, it's very obvious. There's no doubt in the world, our training ground and our stadium is just, if it was a hotel, it would be 7 stars. Forget 5, it would be 7. Everything is there. And he's gone on to say everything about how for me, in another way, this is one of the first shots he takes at him, because he's saying, listen, it's very, very difficult. Only one team will win any cup here, and we need to get up there to be able to compete and be in that situation to do it. So this is, I think, the first little, not a massive shot or anything. I think that's kind of a little dig or a little aim to say hello, but not in a bad way, just to come on, help me here. But he doesn't answer the question. But what he does go on to say, I really do. I really do enjoy, because he goes on to address the word saying that there are monsters in this league, and we know the two teams he's talking about mainly, and we'll go on to that. But for me, he's not answered the question, and he's been genius at doing it. But I do like what he has had to say.
Yeah, that's very much an Antonio Conte thing to do. I apologize for my lag, folks. I am in a new space, and perhaps my internet connection isn't as good as I'd hoped. So if I'm a little laggy, apologize. So, but hopefully the audio is clear, and we're gonna try to get through the video. So again, I apologize for that. So next question is, what do you need to compete with those two clubs? He says, but I think you forgot Chelsea. This is a big mistake. You were talking about a team 2 seasons ago won the Champions League. It's a really big squad. Last season, they won the World Cup for clubs. Why is Chelsea not in this group of teams? For me, Chelsea are in this group, and they want to stay there, and they deserve to be considered in this position. Then there are United, and don't forget, football is not one, add 1 and get 2, because United last season finished 6th, despite in the transfer market, Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Varane. 2 seasons ago, they finished 2nd, and they did this transfer market to try to win the league, and they finished 6th. You have to pay attention, in my opinion, to all of these situations, because we know that in England, it is difficult to fight to win, but we might want to be, we want to try to be competitive, to try to improve on last season, and this is our target. If you ask me about City and Liverpool, my answer is we are talking about two of the best clubs in the world that are working with the same coaches for 7 years. Now, they're, in my opinion, in a position that is very difficult for the others to close the gap, but we have to do this. Also, because to catch a City and Liverpool, you have to spend 100 million for 6 players. They go and spend that on 1 player, 2 players, 100s of millions, and this is the difference. You have to run behind, and they stay in front of you, but you know very well they deserve to stay because they're there. They work very well at the same, have the same coach, and to back the coach, Klopp, Guardiola, and Tuchel, and they deserve this. To become a strong team, you need to have stability and a vision. The idea is to be very clear, and then you will see. You go step by step and try to reduce this gap. Wow, what an answer. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, first of all, there's 2 things. First of all, I love the fact that he didn't even mention the filth when he started mentioning other teams. It was like, yeah, Chelsea, yeah, United, and that's where I'm ending that. And he's right to mention Chelsea for sure. United, we'll see under Ten Hag. But to me, this is the second little dig. This is the second little dig where it's talking about the amount they're spending on players when they're saying they've had a manager for 7 years and stability. Even though Conte isn't a stability manager all the time, let's face it, he could be. He could become a stability manager with us. But he's aiming those little thoughts and saying, this is why they're so far ahead. This is why we're behind them and they can run. That's what I'm getting from this. But he's right in he's right in it. And this isn't me saying, right, we need to go spend £100 million on a player. Yeah. This is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying, that's what they do to stay up there. And people that are going to want to stay up there need to be either very, very, very clever and find a generational talent that just explodes, or you have to pay to get the big players in, or get the players, let's say a centre back. Just that's what you need to do. That's what I think he's trying to get across that right now. But it's such a tremendous question. He goes on about the other teams. I think he mentions these other teams as well, and you mentioned it as well. Everyone is saying Tottenham should be third. Everyone's saying Tottenham are going to this third. And I think what he's doing here as well is trying to play the pressure down on the lads. Because if everyone just, right, third, the players will be like, right, if we don't start hitting the heights or get there, we're going to be say we didn't achieve, we didn't do this, and oh my God, and it's stop. Conte's he's been very, very clever at playing it down for the lads and the team and everyone around him. And he's also been very, very clever in the way he's speaking to Levy, in my opinion. But like I said, this is like the second, and I'm not calling these pipe bombs where he's literally calling him out like call to action. I'm saying they're little comments that he's putting in there just to get heard, but in a very, very dignified and polite way compared to what was said at Burnley.
Yeah, I think we'll agree to disagree on that in this case, but I get what you're saying. I think he's always looking to influence things as much as he can, and I think this goes to your point about the players in particular. He's going to influence them by taking the pressure off them, by saying the right things to say, hey, there's so much other things going on here. He doesn't want the players to be looking at all these things on social media and being heavily pressured because they feel like they're supposed to, finish third or be challenging for the league or be winning the Champions League. He wants them to feel we're in it together, and we're moving in the right direction as a squad. And it's going to take a bit of time to get to that position, but we're doing it together, and the pressure is taken off the players a little bit. Everything he says here is true about all these other teams, especially the Liverpool, City, and how much money they have to spend and how easily they spend it. But I think the key thing here, and this is maybe goes to your thought that maybe he's sort of saying something to Levy, is the recruitment that those teams have and the amount of money they're able to spend. Yeah. I don't think that is necessarily saying, hey, we need to spend more money. I think it's a recognition of where we are as a club, that we don't have the pits of money that Chelsea used to have. They don't have anymore, or it seemingly don't have anymore, like they did with Abramovich. Obviously, City is a juggernaut with the amount of money they have. Their state-owned club, and then of course you've got Liverpool, who I think are probably, from his perspective looking in, are a model you can look at when it comes to doing that rotation of buying the right players each summer, each transfer window, so that you refresh your squad and you maintain the level that you're at, and you have a manager that's there for that long. He talks about the managers having been there 7 years, 7 years. Hopefully we can have Conte for that long, because if we do, we become one of those juggernauts. Right. I think that's sort of what there's a speaking to here. You need that consistency, you need that level of manager, and you need that level of investment. All of those things together to get to the place that, arguably, whether you love it or like him or not, and you would like the board or not, I think Levy in particular wants to get to that. That makes him more successful. He makes more money. The club looks better. He looks better. He doesn't have us bitching about him on a regular basis. So I think with Conte there to show him that, we're starting to see those decisions being made differently, like we've seen this window. But I think he just really tells the story of the Premier League and what it means and what it's like to be a club like Spurs trying to get to that level, but need certain things to happen to get there. And I think it's a really astute, deep answer. And he's really thought about this a lot. He understands who we are and what we're doing and what we need to be doing to get to where we need to go.
So do you know what? Before I read the next question, I think it might be a mesh between basically what you and I said. It could be a complete mesh of all of it. But what I will say is, everyone that's watching live or is going to watch it later on in the day, let us know what you think on this particular question about what Antonio Conte has got to say. Do you agree slightly more with Brian Ireland or with myself? We'd love to know. But we'll go on to the next question, which is: have you closed the gap on Manchester City and Liverpool with the signings of Perisic and Bissouma? Our target in this moment is not to close the gap, it's to try and be better compared than last season. We know that last season we reached 4th place, and in my opinion, it was a big achievement, especially as we finished the season with only 13 players. The first target, our target, the club target, was to then try and improve the squad in quality and numerically, because also with the numerical aspect of the squad, it was not enough. It was our first target. Then you know very well that you can reach the best. The optimum is only 1 year or only after 7 months. You know that you need a bit of patience, but at the same time, it's important to have ambition, to try and be in competition, to try and fight for the best. The ambition has to be the best. Then the reality can be different. But our ambition, because this type of ambition can push my players, the club, without being presumptuous or arrogant, I repeat, this ambition has to push us to give 120% in every day of our life in our work.
Yeah, a lot there. It doesn't really. I mean, he sort of answered the question. Didn't really talk about Perisic and Bissouma and whether that closes the gap. I think he said earlier though that the goal was to try to close the gap, and now he says their target in the moment isn't to close the gap. So a bit of confusion there, but again, maybe lost in translation in a sense. Yeah, I think all of these things is what we sort of been talking about, and what he's been talking about is getting building a squad, a proper squad that can compete at the highest level in every position. And so I think he's taken it away from 2 players being the difference and made it into in a squad. And I think that's important. I think that is the reality. 2 players aren't going to change the way you play. It's the entire squad understanding the way the coach wants you to play, and every player understanding their role in that. Whether or not you're starting every week or whether you're coming off the bench, you're part of that squad. And I think he's understanding that and recognizing that there's a ton of work to be done to get to that level, and he's keeping it in within the group, within sort of their ambition rather than the outside sort of influence, which I really appreciate this. I think this is another smart one from Conte.
So, I mean, first of all, I hate this question. I hate it. And the reason I hate it is why only choose 2? Why not add Richarlison?
Yeah, that's kind of why he answered the way he did, I think. Yeah,
why not add Longley? Why not add? I mean, I could understand not putting Forster in, because we know what Forster's here to do. He's not going to be a ever present or a regular Premier League player. I think this is the second question. I said it may be lost in translation, but he's used this word presumptuous and then gone and been presumptuous.
Yeah,
whereas,
right.
It may be a little bit lost in translation. But I think he's right. Listen, if you say right, it's to close the gap on Manchester City and Liverpool. Again, we go back to where I said why he's playing down the pressure of when they keep saying third. Because if you put all this pressure on them, and we know in the past when it comes to pressure in vital times, there's been a lot of times, I'm not going to say the word, but we haven't pulled through. So I think a lot of this answer, I think it's actually addressed to the players. I think the players, what he does, and he does this brilliantly, is he speaks to his players, not just in the meeting rooms or in the conference, even when he's talking to the press. I think he's getting his message across to the players. Like, listen, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm wanting. I'm going open on air, saying this is what I expect. This is what I demand. So you can't say, "Oh, I didn't understand where he said it or when he said it," because he says it everywhere he goes. He says it.
Yeah.
He literally goes into. I think there's the Antonio Conte build up for the season and obviously the football season, and then Antonio Conte in the summer, because he has just said like how focused he is. This is my objective. This is what I want to do, and this is it. He's saying it not to be presumptuous, and that's the thing. He's not arrogant. The one thing I haven't found from him is he's not arrogant. Yes, he's very,
Not
very
at all.
humble.
It's very humble, I think, which is funny
Exactly
because he's such a
for
winner too. But
for who he is and what he is. So yeah, when he's saying that you may need a lot of pay, listen, he's for me, for this answer, like I said, I hate the fucking question because he's left out all the other players and he's tried to home in on two.
yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, especially the last bit where he goes, you have to give 120% every day in our life of work. That is players. Are you listening to me? In my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think a lot of this is just, it's a lot of stuff he's probably saying to the players as well. And it's just, it's consistency. You know, this is who we are. This is how we're going to function as a club, as a squad. And he consistently says those things in all the questions he's asked, whether it's asked by media or whether he's having a conversation with management within the club or the players themselves. So, yeah, great stuff from Conte. Next question is, you said City and Liverpool have a big advantage because they have coaches who have been in place for a long time. Is that the only way a club like Spurs can compete as well? I mean, this is a great continued question from sort of what we just spoke about. Yeah, I think so. I think so, because if you're the same manager for many years and you give continuity and you can continue an idea and you can continue a vision, then for sure it's the best situation for the club to improve and to grow season by season, because then the vision is one. It's not a different vision with another manager. For sure, to have a coach for many years, you reduce the time between, because you can give continuity in the work together, the manager, the club, and the players. I think that this is important. For me, after 7 months, it's easier now to work with the players because the players know what I want, and now we can work on the other aspects and implement their football knowledge, and we grow in the tactical aspect, the physical aspect, and the mentality aspect, because you know each other. And I think this is very important. Oh man, love this answer. What are your thoughts, Brian?
Mate, again, I'm going to say shot three. And like I said, these aren't shots like when managers are going crazy at him, like when Poch said, "Why call me a manager?" This is Antonio Conte. Listen, we know how long we've gone through managers. Like Pochettino was our longest serving, and we've said it on this channel and so have many others, that the most important thing is having the coach that stays, so everyone knows the vision. The players are there because the manager wants them, not different manager, different style, different manager, different style, different manager, and it sets all the. So this to me, obviously, when he says it, people that have been there continuously, the club have, again, where he's saying, because they've matched ambition and they've grown together, which I think is this is the vital part of it. I think this can't be, and we've all spoken about just one summer where this happens. Hopefully, and I'm praying that it will be. This will be the start where not we go and buy 6 or 7 players every year, because we won't need to. But next season we might need to only buy 2.
We need to refresh.
Yeah, but we'll be able to buy with the sort of money we spent, maybe on 2 players, 100 million spent on 2. You know what I mean? So that's how the club grows, and he's right in everything he says. Everything he says is that's how you get success, by continuing on a path, having a path and continuing on it and allowing it to grow how the manager wants it to grow, because that's the way you develop. And you see that. Look what Klopp's doing. Look, I mean, Guardiola's different. He's a wonderful manager, but you're going to do well at City, aren't you? You're going to do well at City, regardless. So that will happen. But I think it's a wonderful, wonderful answer from him. Like I said, I'm not saying these are pipe bombs. I'm saying they're little comments to have, like, because Daniel Levy has definitely listened to get players in early this time, hasn't he? He's definitely listened. So that's a good start. But I think, again, what he's saying here is this is the kind of stuff that needs to continue, and the continuity of a plan together will only benefit Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I don't think this is a pot shot in any way, but I do agree he's speaking to the club. But I think he's already said this to them. I think the reason we've gotten what we've gotten so far in this window and getting things done early is because the club has listened to him saying this. Like, he's basically sat them down and said, this is why the other teams are where they are. This is how it works. This is what we need to do to be successful. If you want this to happen and you want me to be with this club forever, not forever, but for a long period of time to develop like these other clubs have that are at the top of the Premier League, you have to listen to me and do what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure this isn't the first time he said it to them. I mean, we've seen a response from the club and how they've managed this window. It's much different than we've seen before. Now, are we getting it exactly right? We don't know yet. And of course, there's going to be growing pains, and doing something completely different from what you've done before and expecting things to just go perfectly is not necessarily going to happen. But this conversation has happened before this press conference. But yeah, he is saying this and has said this to the club. And it is kind of an obvious answer. Like, I think we all know this. We all know, we've seen the success of the best clubs in the world currently who are, in the Premier League, are Liverpool, Man City, and how long they've had their managers for when it comes to consistency over a long period of time with a philosophy that works with the best managers in the world. He is one of them. If we can keep him, and we can keep him for long term, and this is what he's saying, because you have the ambition I have, and maybe that's where he's talking to them. Stick with me, and this will go. Then we will see success. So absolutely fantastic answer, and he's 100% correct in that this is how clubs win stuff and how they stay consistently winning stuff and how they're always in the conversation for the title. And we're close to that with Conte. We've never been closer with a manager before consistently. I know that we had good times with Poch, but that was arguably a fluke to some extent. This is specific and done with a manager who's currently winning, and we know is a winner, and we know his philosophy will take us there. So fantastic stuff.
So do you know what? I want to change when I say pot shot, I want to change it to message, because I've got to do this fairly.
Yeah, I think that's more appropriate. I think that makes more sense.
I want to change it to message because, like I said, what I think he's doing there, like I said before, when I think he's talking to the players through the press conference, he's sending a message. He's talking to the club saying, "You're doing it now. Continue." Not a pot shot. Sure. Message is the word I'm going to use, because obviously he's
continuing the message. But would you agree, Brad, that he's already? Would you agree that they've had this conversation though? He's not.
I would say they've. Do you know what? I would imagine that Conte demands having this conversation every month just to make sure.
I would think so. Right? Yeah.
But yeah, I want to change that from pot shots to message. So
yep.
The next one that he went on to say is, you as a manager have tended to not stay at clubs, or they're really pushing this button, aren't they?
They are, aren't they? Yeah.
For that length of time. Could you reconsider that with Spurs? I think, first of all, I need to stay well in the club. I am always the honesty. I like always the honesty. If you tell me one thing, then you have to respect this. Otherwise, I don't like people who say one thing to me and start at the start and during the season, and are after 1 or 2 years, they change the situation. I don't like this. I like honest person. Also, if they have to tell me the bad truth, it has to be the truth, not a good lie. Because if you tell me a good lie, you don't have a lot of life with me, because I hate lies and I hate lies. Oh my God!
I love this. This is. I mean, message to the club or otherwise. This is just exactly why I love Antonio Conte, and the reasons he's left other clubs and the things that have happened at other clubs is because he was clearly lied to. He was told one thing and something else happened. If this is a message to Levy and the board, it's the message they need to hear. Don't fuck with Conte, or you're messing with the club. And I hope that they're hearing it, and I hope that he said this to them already, and that they don't try to push any stupid things and lie to him, because he will leave, and that is for good reason. If you ask me, like, I get why he says this. You don't say one thing and then go back on it and do something that doesn't follow through with what you've said the first time. So absolutely love this answer. This is Antonio Conte at his best, and I think this is again putting Levy and the board and the club into a position of, you better back me continuously, not just this window, and hopefully we see that. But yeah, fantastic stuff from Conte.
So I love this answer, and this message, this rings very, very personal with me, because obviously people know my past and my road to redemption kind of thing, and one of the things I used to be is a pathological liar. And I would just say whatever it is to please people, or I'd lie about where I was or whatever. And then as I went through my road to recovery, even if I tell someone bad news and I was lying to them before just to try and keep them happy, well, they're going to be even worse when it comes back and they realise that I've lied. And then I realised, if you just tell the truth to someone, whether it's good or bad. If it's bad, yeah, you're going to be pissed off. Yeah, you're not going to like it, but you know the situation. You can't. If that's what it is, what it is. You can't have this. You will. You will. I won't give you that. I will. I'll give you the money for this one. You can't have that. You know. Yes, you can be pissed off. But you're like, right now, I know what's happening. I'm not messing around waiting for something to happen. I can think of other ways to fix the issue I'm having because I've been told the truth. Because I know where we are. Yes, I could be pissed off with the answer, or he could be pissed off with the answer, but he knows the answer, and he's like, right now, it's down to me to find the solution. And that's what he's saying there. It's like, if you don't bullshit me, because if you bullshit me, I can't help.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's a wonderful, wonderful answer. Like you said, with this being called Straight Outta Conte, I think you could play the original song, and you would understand what he's saying, because that's exactly what they're saying. Don't mess with me. I've got a bit of an attitude, and if you bullshit me, it's only going to hurt you. So it's an incredible answer.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely love it, and we're just seeing the best of Conte. I think in this press conference, it's really great stuff. He's getting asked the questions that I think many of us are wanting to know about as well, and getting the responses that many of us are like, yes, that's exactly how we feel.
Yep.
So yeah, I love it. Fantastic stuff. Next question is Ivan Perisic fit enough to start? Answer: it's normal after a serious injury to be struggling a bit to come back in the best physical condition. Honestly, I'm surprised because he reduced his time to recover. We are really happy, which is great to hear. At the same time, we are not worried, but we have to pay a bit of attention to give him the right time to adapt himself to recover 100% after his injury. But I know him very well, and he is a very good addition for us. It will be very important for his experience for the younger players. Sessegnon is a player who plays in the same role. Ivan can teach him a lot of situations to improve Sess, but even for sure, he is a really good addition for us in many aspects. Then we will see. We have another training session tomorrow. Play him or Sess, and then he laughs, which is fantastic. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, so for me, I mean, I love Ivan Perisic. I'm delighted, but I think this goes back to what he was saying with Basuma. I'm not rushing him. I'm not rushing him.
Yeah, I agree.
If he needs an extra week to get ready for Chelsea, have him on the bench. Have him on the bench, or don't have him there if he's seriously not ready, and have him ready for Chelsea. Yes, it'll be a baptism of fire, but listen, this guy is a winner. He knows
he doesn't need a baptism.
The hostile places, and this is a thing that I love. He knows Ivan Perisic very, 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 very well. So this isn't even a conversation. He knows what to do with him. He knows how to look after him. And of course, you do need a bit of time to adapt from Italy to England. We all know that. And I'm not just talking about the football. I'm talking about the country, the language, the culture, the everything. Sure. So yeah, I mean, Sessegnon, I love. Like I said, when we signed him, the stuff Ivan Perisic can pass down to us. Or not down to us, but down to the younger players, even some of the experienced players, with the way he conducts himself on and off the pitch, is going to be value in itself, let alone on the pitch. So with him, he is going to be a vital part of our season. So if he isn't ready, or isn't what Conte deems 100% ready for Southampton, I'd rather him on the bench and didn't play and was 100% ready for Chelsea than risk anything. Because if he goes out after the first game, we're in big problems again. So I love this answer. What about you, Alan?
Yeah, similarly, feel the same way about it. I think the key, bits in this response to me is his experience for the younger players and all of the players. We spoke a bit about this yesterday on the stream with the lads from Spurs Song Sheet, and we talked about his influence and what it's going to mean for the entire squad. His winning, his leadership on the pitch. I think when he's on the pitch, he gives something to the team that we currently don't have when it comes to his experience and what he's done in his career. You know, we have winners, we have players who've won things at international level and sort of, kind of there, but he's just an echelon up, and he's in that category of players that have done so much in their career across the board in every club they've been at and at international level. And he's gonna make every one of the wingbacks in the side understand Conte's system and what he wants wingbacks to do, and that is going to propel all of the wingbacks in our team to a level that they hadn't understood they could probably play at. And he went from being a winger to playing a left wingback, so he this is what Conte was able to do, and he knows what Conte asked him to do and how to get there. So I think that's going to be massive for these players, because a lot of them are sort of, pseudo wingers, or maybe a right back who went to a right wing back. They played in a different position, trained in a different position, but the system is very specific, and Perisic knows it better than probably anybody that we could have brought into the team, other than maybe a couple other players that he's managed. So really, really valuable for the team, and really valuable for these youngsters, and particularly that position. So love the answer, and love that that the effect that he's going to have on the squad. And when it comes to playing at the weekend, I agree with you 100%. Save him for Chelsea. Maybe bring him on for 20 minutes at the end of the Southampton if we just need to calm things down or something. We're up 1-0 or 2-0 or something like that, and we just want to make sure we do the right thing. He's the type of player that can come in and do that. You play him for 20, 30 minutes, get him his legs into a Premier League match, and then next week when we go against Chelsea away, you start him and you let him do his thing and own that left side, because we're going to come up against wingbacks in that game that are going to be very good at a similar level to what he's at. So we'll need to counter it properly with players who can step up and play at that level. So yeah, I think saving him for next week is what we're seeing here.
And it's great that you mentioned right wing backs in that answer, because we're moving on to them right now. So on the right, you have 3 right wing backs. How will you keep them all happy, or do you see one having to leave? Also, for the right side, and then he had a laugh, we have a similar situation like Ivan to Matthew. Matthew had a serious injury, and I think worse than Ivan. Now he is working a lot. He has had a bit of time to come back to be fit like last season. I hope to bring him into the same situation as last season, as I think Matthew, he played really well. At the moment, we need to have a bit of patience. He needs to have a bit of patience, but is working very well to be fit quickly. Then we have Spence. I have said to you that he was an important investment for the club for the future. He is a really good prospect and a young player. For sure, it is important for him to understand very well with us, to adapt himself on the demands of Tottenham. With him, we have to work and have patience. The same for the player. Then there is Emerson. Emerson is fit. Yeah. This is about wing-backs. The situation, I hope that I was clear to explain the situation.
Sort of clear, Antonio. It's a bit of a wobbly answer, but I like the answer about Doherty here, and I want to speak to Doherty a little bit, because I think there's an underrated. He's been a bit underrated by Spurs fans in what he had done at Wolves before he came to Spurs and played out of position as a right back rather than right wing back. We saw under Conte, in a system that he knows how to play, how good he can be and what he can do to influence that right side as well. He's very good going forward. He can defend reasonably well. I think maybe his defensive side of the game is his weakest part, but getting forward, he's very good at. He will be important to that side of the pitch. He will bring experience that in a system that in a position that he knows really well. So I think I like that. And I think he recognizes that when given the right amount of time and given the right coaching, that he's a very valuable player in that position. I don't see him going anywhere this summer. I think if anyone's in that wing back position, it'll be Emerson that does potentially move on, because of his the fact that he's fit is maybe the only reason we're going to be keeping him, because Doherty is not fully fit yet, and we're sort of like trying to work through that situation. But a little bit of a weird, not weird, but sort of wobbly answer to the question. But I do think Doherty is going to be important in that side. The Spence conversation, the important player. Despite it being a club signing, it is a signing that had to go through Conte. At least that's my understanding. And Conte did say, "I'm fine with this." He looked at the player and said that it's a good investment for the club, and arguably he's going to be here for long enough to influence it and see what we can get out of him. So he's in Spence in a very good position to have a player like Doherty who can show him the ropes a little bit on that side of the pitch, and as well as obviously Antonio Conte to wing back, whisper him to get him to the level he needs to be at.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this situation, I mean, 3 right wing backs. He's right. At the moment, you look at it, technically we've got 1, because Emerson is fit and ready, Doherty is recovering, and Spence is brand new and has to get used to everything. So don't get me wrong, we are top heavy in that position, but he's addressed it and spoken about it very, very clearly. I actually think Emerson's here to stay. I don't see him going anywhere. Whether people like that or not is beyond is past the point. I think he's the one we could get the most money for out of him and Doherty. But yeah, at the moment we do only have technically one fully ready to go, up to speed right back that has had 7 months with Conte.
Yeah.
So it is a worry. If you look at it, we're still struggling to get a centre back in or whatever we are doing. But we've got.
That's another reason why. Sorry to interrupt, but I think that's another reason why Lucas Moura was discussed earlier on in the preseason about maybe playing that position because of our fitness issues there. And then he's like, I can play him there, and I know that I can rely on him to some extent.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he hasn't even brought it on into this conversation, so he didn't even bring him up either, Conte. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's a question where it's kind of he was explaining that we may have numbers, but the strength isn't there yet. We've got two players that still need to catch up to. And when I say catch up to Emerson, I mean with his length at the club and his fitness, not his quality. And they need to get up to standards with what Conte demands, and we see where we go from there. But we're on to the last question now, which I believe is yours, Island.
Yes, sir. The last question is, but can you keep them all happy? 3 players for one position. I love this answer. I've read it already because I couldn't wait to, and it's just so good. But they have to make me happy. No, you understand? With performances to bring me to think, but who is the better player? You understand? They have to make me happy. No, not me. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead, bro. I'll let you speak to it. Just
I've
great
spoken
stuff
about this before, and Harry Redknapp was asked this question when he was at Spurs when we got into the Champions League, and he said, "The players, you got a big squad. How are you going to keep them happy?" And he turned around himself, Harry Redknapp, and said, "It's not my job to keep them happy. It's their job to keep me happy." And he has just said exactly that, and that is it. People seem to forget the manager. Like, look what he's doing with Reguilon and Lo Celso and Winks and Ndombele. You know my plans. Bye. You don't make me happy. Bye. And that's everything this answer says. It's look, they make me happy or they're out. That's it. I'm not here to make
I'm
them.
the manager. I'm the boss. It's the
Exactly.
it's not the other way around.
I want to win trophies with this club. I want them to win trophies, but they need to make me happy to be in that title challenging or cup winning challenging squad or starting lineup. So it's the perfect answer.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Really long one, folks. So hopefully you enjoyed the extended version of Straight Outta Conte. And apologize for any technical issues we had. There is a bit of growing pains in the new studio space and the Wi-Fi and whatnot, and I've got to get a wired connection. But hopefully the edits will mean that it's not a problem. Any last words before we roll on?
Yeah, again, I just want to say everyone that's been watching these Straight Outta Conte, thanks for your support, thanks for everything. If you are watching this when we premiere it, there is an Ask Us Anything coming out at 4 p.m. live today at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK time. So get your questions ready. Anything goes, as you know. You
decide. You decide. You have the power. So hopefully you can join us there. And thank you very much indeed. Yeah, and just one more thing to add to that is we have a special guest on Ask Us Anything, Bob Spur. So join the 3 of us, myself, Brian, and Bob, to ask us anything and prepare for questions for Bob if you like as well. But really looking forward to that show, and thanks for watching this one. And we'll see you again soon. Cheers. Have a good one.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.